Hey guys, I am back. I honestly was not planning to do any more videos after I gave birth to my baby March last year in 2020. I basically had him a couple days right before everything was shut down, right before everybody had to like quarantine and all that. So because of the whole virus, I didn't really feel like making more videos. I had a lot of people asking me, am I going to make more videos on my YouTube channel? And the answer was always no, because of everything that was going on, like I just said. So yeah, so I just didn't want to do any more videos. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably like the 5th time I want to say that I have tried to record this video, because I didn't really know how to put into words what I want to tell you guys. Eventually I kind of just said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna share my testimony with you guys first and then go from there. So that's pretty much why I am making this video. So basically, when I was pregnant of my son, I had this fear that I was going to die giving birth, and the reason being is because my mom, when I was a lot more younger, probably like in my teenage years, she shared a story of how a woman passed away because she, you know, gave birth and had complications and all that. And so from then on, that was just my biggest fear. So I was really happy in my pregnancy up until obviously the 3rd trimester, because I was having a lot of complications. But literally every single day, I kid you not, every day I prayed to God and I asked him to, you know, I let him know my fears and I asked him to not let my fears come true. The thing with prayer is you can't just really pray to God and tell him, don't make this happen. You kind of have to leave it all in his will. So while I was praying for my fear to not come true, I was also letting him know, like, you know what, if I am going to die, then, you know, if that's your will for me to die, then, you know, I have to basically be okay with it. Obviously, what I would want the most is to live on and you know, to get to share, you know, beautiful experiences and watching my son grow up. But I also just leave it all in God's hands. It's not like it was something that I was worried every single day. It was just something that just would come to my mind here and there. My husband talked a lot to me to try to calm me down, which it eventually worked out. During the last month of my pregnancy, I just let that fear go, and I literally just let it go and I left it all in God's hands. So 3 days before I gave birth to my son, my husband and I, we were doing our last minute shopping before baby arrived at Target. Right when we were done shopping and we were walking out of the building, some lady was waiting for us. She stopped us and I was like, well, did we do something wrong? Like, so many things came to my mind. And eventually she told us, like, oh, you know, I saw you guys shopping and I feel led to share this with you guys. She goes, I know this sounds weird, but do you guys believe in God? And I automatically said yes. And she continued to say, I feel the Lord telling me that you need to not worry about your pregnancy. Everything's going to be okay. Every time I tell this story, I get really emotional. He's going to be there with you in the delivering room. Don't worry, don't be afraid. He loves you and your son very much, and he's going to be there with you. And I can't really exactly remember her words. My husband, he has such a great memory compared to me, but I know that's something along the lines with what she said. And as soon as she told me that, I started crying, because I knew that my prayers were answered. And, you know, she asked me if she can give me a hug, which I said yes. And like I said, this was way before the pandemic happened. And she proceeded to tell me Bible verses. And I think the weird part was that her car was just a couple of cars away from my husband and I's. I saw her trying to, you know, load up her things. And so when my husband and I went inside, right before I sat down on the seat and I closed the door, our car door, I looked over and I didn't see her anymore. And I'm just like, there is no way this lady left so quick. You know, she had a cart full of things, and I saw her getting, you know, stopping at a car, you know, a couple cars before ours, and for her to just disappear right away, like, it didn't really hit me until afterward, where I was kind of thinking like, wait a minute, you know, because she have been an angel. Like, I've heard of so many encounters of people who have encountered angels, and you know, I can't say that she was. It's just, I'm just sharing what happened to me that day and what I saw and what I experienced. I think she could have been, like I said, I could be wrong. When my husband and I, we went inside our car, we just both sat there like silent. We were just so silent. We didn't say anything to each other until like a couple minutes later. We just looked at each other and we're like, wow, that just really happened. Gosh, I'm gonna cry again. I think the thing that touched me the most was the fact that my husband told me that, you know, he was praying for me too. And he was praying to God to answer my prayers, to send someone to let me know that everything was going to be okay so that I wouldn't have to worry anymore. And like, I knew that that was God just answering both of our prayers. And it made me tear up and made me cry because I had no idea that my husband was praying for me as well. So that was just something that just caught me off guard, and I was surprised. I was happy to hear him say that because I like I said, I had no idea that he was doing that. It made me love him even more. It really touched my heart. So that happened, and then a couple days after I gave birth, I have never told anyone this. Only my close family and friends know this, but I do want to share it on here right now. But after I gave birth to my son, I was having a lot of complications. Basically, I remember getting up and I couldn't breathe. I was having a hard time catching my breath. I got up, I walked around the house. My mom made me walk around because she told me I need to. My legs were a little bit swollen, and that just right there should have been a red flag, but I kind of ignored it. I walked around and I kept telling my mom, I can't catch my breath. Like, I feel like I'm struggling. Is this normal? Is this okay after giving birth? You know, is this a normal postpartum symptom? And she told me no, that's not normal. So typical me, I got my phone, I started googling things, and I scared myself, and I kind of ignored it. I shrugged it off, and the day kept going by, and I just kept feeling the same way, and I just knew something was wrong. I knew it. This was already when the pandemic hit and they were taking things serious. So as much as I wanted my husband to be there with me in the hospital, I had an idea, I had a clue that he was not going to be allowed in, but I told him, you know what, you have to take me to the hospital. I don't feel good. And I explained to him what happened, and so he said, you know what, let's go. Went to the hospital, and of course they did not let my husband in with me, so I was even more freaked out. I think just all the postpartum symptoms and what I felt like I knew what I was going through just kind of hit me. I was so sentimental, but my husband said, you know what, just go in, it's okay, you'll be fine, I'm gonna stay in the car. If you need anything, just let me know, call me. And so that made me feel better. I went in by myself. They did tests, and I was praying. I was literally praying that everything's going to be okay. I thought I might have had a blood clot in my chest. When they did the CT of my chest, hi baby. They told me everything was normal, so I let out a big sigh of relief. They did an ultrasound on my leg, which I thought that was weird. I was like, why are they doing an ultrasound on my leg? So they did an ultrasound on my leg, like right behind my knee. An hour later, I think, or 30 minutes passed by, and the doctor gave me the bad news that I had a blood clot behind my knee. Thankfully, I was wrong about the chest area, but unfortunately, instead of the blood clot being in my chest, it was behind my knee. And I completely freaked out. I remember the doctor telling me, you know, you have to be on blood thinners. Either you go on blood thinners or you can go home and not take anything. This most likely, it's something really tiny, really small. It's not a huge blood clot, but you never know because you just gave birth. It can grow bigger, or even if you don't take medication, it can go away, but you just don't want to risk that. And so I freaked out. I remember I called my mom, I called my sister-in-law to ask them if they had knowledge of, you know, taking blood thinners, because I had no idea what that was. I knew it was just to help the blood clot from getting bigger, but I just didn't know all the side effects, and I like to know the side effects of medications before I even take them. But eventually they both told me, you know what, take it. If this is what the doctor's telling you to take it. So I took it. My sister-in-law, she was pretty much my nurse. She would inject me every single day. It was like on my belly fat area, so she would inject me every day. And then eventually I had to switch to an actual oral medication instead of injections. I think the reason why I even got a blood clot to begin with was because after I gave birth to my baby, we had this little crib to lay him at, but because he was so tiny, I wanted him right next to me. So I had him next to me, and while my husband slept on the foot of our bed, and he kept telling me, I'm gonna sleep on the floor so you can stretch out your legs and you can sleep better. And I felt bad, and I was like, no, just sleep on the edge of the bed. I'm okay with it. So instead of my legs being flat like they're supposed to, they were kind of a little bit bent, just so I could make room for my husband to lay right here. And so because I wasn't letting my blood circulate, and after you give birth, your blood circulates a lot more faster for a little bit, I wasn't letting that circulation pass by, and so I'm 100% sure that's what caused my blood clot. I remember going back again. I can't remember why. I went back again to the hospital, and they were already set that they were going to give me some oral. There's like 3 or 4 different blood thinning medications that you can choose from, but you have to choose the right one. Each one does certain things to your body. And so the one that the hospital had recommended me, I just had like this bad feeling about it, and I was like, no, I can't take that one. And they told me I had to start on an oral because my injection ones were about to finish, so they prescribed me one, but I had just this bad feeling. I contacted my primary just to make sure that was okay. She told me it was fine, so I was like, okay, you know what, maybe it's just me freaking out. I was already supposed to start on it, like I think the next day or a couple days, I can't really remember. Right when I got out of the hospital, I got a call from my cardiologist, and he said, oh my, he's like, how are you doing? I explained what just happened to me and what I had been prescribed as my new oral blood thinner medication. And he said, you know what, this is funny because I was already walking out of my office, and something told me that I had to go back. So when I went back, I saw the missed call, the note from you. And it's funny that you're telling me all of this because it was just meant to be for me to come back. And I was just so shocked. I was like, wow, like, you're gonna tell me that this was not from God? Because I know that it was from my good Lord. I know that he was watching out for me. He was watching over me and protecting me. And I don't think it's just everything that I went through, I don't think it was a coincidence. And long story short, I did take the blood thinning medications, I think, for 3 months. When I went back to get the ultrasound done on my leg, the nurse was so sweet. She actually checked both, even though she was supposed to check one, but she checked both, and she told me, you're good. It's like nothing was there. She goes, you're fine. I even went to go get a follow-up with the actual like blood doctor, specializes, I forgot, hematologist, I believe that's the name of it. And he told me, like, you know, my family history, and he said, no, that's weird. There's no way you could have gotten a blood clot if nobody in your family has it. And I explained to him how I was sleeping after I gave birth, and he said that was your issue. He thinks I am good to have another baby in the future, but it's scary. I mean, I had my OBG tell me something else, tell me a whole complete different story, that I can't have babies, or I shouldn't have babies anymore, because it will, you know, give me a risk of having another blood clot in the future, and maybe this time I won't be so lucky. But you know what, I'm not gonna fear. You know, it's all in God's timing. If I'm meant to have another baby, then I am. I really wanted to share my testimony with you guys, with what happened during my pregnancy and after my pregnancy, and all the glory to Jesus, because everything I went through, like, I still can't even imagine it. I know I wouldn't have been able to get through any of this if it wasn't for him. With everything that's going on in the world, I just want to encourage you guys to consider having a relationship with God. He is so amazing. He is so wonderful. He does so much for us, and I think it just breaks my heart that there's so many people who don't believe in him. So many people that are literally lost without him. I just really wanted to share this video to show how amazing and wonderful God is. I just want to encourage you guys, basically, to get close to God, get close to Jesus. Open up your Bible every day, read at least one chapter a day. Write down notes. What has helped me a lot is, before I read my Bible, I pray to God to reveal things to me. I pray for wisdom, I pray for knowledge, for understanding, and for revelation. And guys, this has really, God has really revealed a lot of things. He has really helped me understand the Bible even more. I have read the Bible from beginning to end a couple years ago, before I even got baptized, and even to this day I'm just like what was I even reading? Like, I can't recall a lot of things that I read. I didn't understand a lot that I read, but now that I go back, I'm just like, wow, it's just unbelievable what a couple years reading a certain passage a couple years ago and not understanding to now, and God revealing things to me. It's just so mind-blowing, and I know that only the Holy Spirit is able to do this. Only God is able to help you understand and know what you're reading. I don't know everything yet. I'm still learning as I go, but I pray that eventually I will learn as much as I can. So yeah, so hopefully I will come back with another video. It's not gonna be no more fashion, no more vlogs. It's just gonna be hopefully on sharing my faith, sharing things that I have learned as I go. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Leave comments down below. And yeah, I hope you guys have a very blessed day. Bye.